We are live on the Virtual Grip Network from the Sun Devil State as we head out west to play in the desert. And boy, is it going to get hot tonight. Last week, we saw our third different winner in as many weeks, which means now we have 3 drivers who have punched their ticket to the dance. Courtney Nelson brought home the checkers after a grueling 45 laps at the Circuit of the Americas and would love to be the first driver to take home his second checkered flag, but defending champion Joshua Robinson would love to edge himself between Courtney and that second checkered flag so he can join the respective class of drivers already in the playoff mix. All of these storylines and so many more as drivers dance with the devil tonight at Phoenix Raceway for week 4 of the OBRL YesterYear Racing Cup Series. YesterYear, where past meets present. I'm Zach Chapman, a.k.a. Shaggy, along with my partner in crime, John Hine, and we're lucky enough to have the heartbeat, the best VGN has to offer, bringing us all these sights and sounds, the one and only Ryan Seneker, located at 7602 Jimmy Johnson Drive, the action-packed Phoenix Raceway, a track that has seen so many changes over its 60-year history, and now today, we get to reap all the benefits. This track has brought some memorable finishes as recent as today. I won't spoil it for you, but man, that Cup race, what a finish. And I look for the OBRL YesterYear Cup Series to continue the trend down here in the desert. Legends such as Dale Earnhardt, Alan Kowicki, and Davey Allison have taken the checkered flag. But if you haven't watched a race here in the past couple years, you may be a little confused. The old front stretch is now the back stretch, and turn 1, well, that's now turn 4, and we're going to see all sorts of passing made coming to the checkered flag. John, I touched on the new layout a bit, but what else can we look forward to here at the Phoenix Raceway?
Well, it is a 1-mile racetrack, and I'll tell you, you know what, this is a unique track because depending on how you want to label it, you got maybe 3 turns, maybe up to 5 turns. You've got turns 1 and 2, you got turns 3 and 4, and then you got a dog leg that most definitely is a turn. And then that dog leg, they even got something a little special here. That yellow line that most tracks you got to stay above, not here. You go all the way down that inside wall, can create some exciting moments up on that front stretch. But 175 laps, 4 sets of tires, only 9 incidents allowed before you might get disqualified. And Zach, the hardest thing about this track, all 3 of those areas I touched on, turns 1 and 2, 3 and 4, and the dog leg, you've got to race each one of those very, very differently. Both ends, yep, you got to lift at different points, get back on the gas different points. One end, if you get back into the gas too early, you're going to lose the back end down in 1 and 2, spin out. Down 3 and 4, pick up the gas too early, and guess what? You're going to meet the outside wall, push right up the track. So these guys are going to have to be on their toes and really be up on the wheel the entire 175 laps.
Yeah, and it's going to be interesting to see, John. They call it the flat for a reason, but my oh my, turning down into pit road here, coming out of 3, they're in the middle. It is a tricky ride to get down into pit road, and with what we've seen with these guys so far this season in the OBRL YesterYear Cup Series, we are going to see some green flag pit stops, so you better have done your work here. It's a tricky pit road.
Yeah, it really is, and it's a long pit road too, so you're not only trying to get in and not get yourself in trouble getting in, but not getting a speeding penalty on your way out. And then you come out and then you come into the dog leg too, so right at the exit of the dog leg, and you never know where folks are going to be running. I know drivers a lot will look at what they call a relative, which will show them how far to the next car behind them. That car might be a second or so, and they might think, oh, they're up on the racing groove. Well, they may not be. They might be coming right at you as you exit. So you got to really be aware for the entirety until you get back up to racing speed for your pit stops here tonight.
Now, John, not that we didn't see tire wear last week, but obviously road course racing, a little different. We're going to be a little more bumper to bumper here. And Phoenix, you talked about it, man. This mile racetrack, it's going to eat up the tires. What can drivers do to try to set themselves apart from the field? Do we maybe back up the corner? Do we give it some extra rear brake? I mean, what's the go-to here today?
You can do a couple things. You can back the corner up, where you can just roll the corner a little bit more smoothly, so you're not picking up the gas. Because when your foot's in the gas, you're putting wheel in, and it's gonna put stress on those right side tires. The same thing when you exit the corners too. If you pick it up too early, you're putting a lot of stress on those tires as you make the corner exit. So if you can be a little bit patient, get a good center roll through there, and pick the gas up late in the quarter, you'll save gas or save tires that way too.
Well, qualifying's in the books. We had 31 drivers put times in. We have 40 people, it looks like, set to take the grid this evening. Let's see if we can take a look here at that starting lineup. Starting on the pole, the 207, and you'll see as you go on the leaderboard here later, guys listed in yellow. He's not now, but he will be. He's a winner. Those guys are locked in the playoffs. Daniel Hill starting on the pole, and the outside, defending champion Josh Robinson in the 23.
Second row is going to have Tom Ogle and Kevin Masur.
Row 3 to the inside, the 77 of Roger Hurley. To the outside, the double nickel of Dale Copeland.
The number 9 of Brian Lynch is going to be flanked by Andrew Koska in row 4.
Daryl Weininger takes that 15 and lines up on the inside of row 5. On the outside, the 84 of Mike Watts.
Chris Walsh and Fred Wolford are going to occupy row 6.
Row 7 to the inside, Lloyd Moore in the 26. To the outside, the 07 of Don Easton.
Sean Foltz and Chris Bates are in the next row.
James Hislop in the inside of row 9. To the outside, the double 3 of Courtney Nelson.
Dwayne MacArthur is going to roll off 19th, and Jeff Leiden will round out your top 20.
Bill Martin to the inside of row 11. To the outside, the 05 of Tommy Emissy.
Alan Wanamaker will roll off 23rd. To his outside will be Ben Shepard.
Lucky Larry to the inside of row 13. Larry Corey to the outside. Patrick Martindale.
We have Robert Crisco starting 27th. Next to him will be Gavin Adams.
Andy Thomas lines up on the inside of row 15 in the 12. To the outside, the 19 of Dustin Martinson.
Don Manson and Scott Negus will occupy 31st and 32nd.
Finally going to get this right. The double deuce Bruce Pearson to the inside of row 17. To the outside of the 32 of John Hastings.
Mark Schrader and Victor Lane will be 35th and 36th.
Daytona 500 or 250 winner, technically, Mark Fish to the inside of row 19. To the outside, the 86 of John Tier.
Brian Lindsay and Torrance Childs will get the next row.
I believe
last one will be Brian Lindsay.
Yeah, that's going to do it for us here. Brian Lindsay, okay. Why on mine, on my cheat iRacing here, didn't want to grab him? Okay, I'm just getting word here that, the pole sitter gets the end of the line there. That's what threw me off. Because, John, we know they're allowed to qualify, but they're not allowed to start up towards the front.
Nope. Hey, we're going green right now here from the desert.
Oh, yeah, we are. Jesus, way to spoil that. Way to blow it. My first time this season, I was stuck on the qualifying. I was back a second. Oh, shame on me. As Tom Ogle here rolls in the lead in that STP machine. But they're racing pretty hard back there, 6th, 7th. They're side by side still. As you see the Chick-fil-A machine get down to the bottom. That's the 55 of Dale Copeland. But they're racing hard behind. Brian Lynch to the inside, Mike Watts to the outside.
Yeah, I'm watching everybody here. They're staying above the yellow line. They're not taking the whole cutting the dog leg here. So everybody's kind of staying up and staying in line all the way through the field. Nice side-by-side racing throughout the field here.
And I think, the guys out front, that's exactly what they want, that single file racing. And I think if you're Fred Wolford right here making the move on the outside, that's maybe where you want to be if you're going to try to make a pass early, John. Now, I could be wrong. I'm wrong all the time. Ask my wife. But I think if you're going to get the move done, you want to be easy on those tires.
Oh, we got one in the wall.
Yes, we do. I saw him get in the inside wall. Who was that? Courtney Nelson, your winner last week. And, John, oh, man, you got to think no quick repairs. That duck's pretty wounded. I don't know if he's going to be able to win 2 weeks in a row.
Looked like he just lost the back end coming out of the corner, and that's a tough break for Nelson. But he's got a win to bank on, so that's always good too.
Yeah, and that just shows, really, John mentioned, I mean, they limit it now. They don't even call it a turn anymore. They just give it the dog leg. But, man, that thing is going to be trouble, especially as these rear tires heat up. Drivers are going to be slipping and sliding all through the dog leg, especially if you're seeing it here on, lap 3.
Yeah, and that dog leg, they've widened it out. It used to be you have grass pretty close up there. I actually have had laps on this track way back in the day in a midget. So, yeah, that dog leg is, I promise you, it's a turn.
And they're racing hard, man. I'm looking back here at the double deuce Bruce Pierce. Oh, there's a car around in front of him. Yep. The 17 of Larry Corey goes around. Couldn't tell how it all kicked off, John, but the DW paint scheme goes around, and I'm looking as we get the replay. It's looking like it's another solo spin. And John, these drivers are in for a long night. We are limited on sets of tires. You brought that up. We get 3 extra sets, 4 total. So if you are slipping and sliding and you're thinking we got to go 45 laps a set of tires, oh man, this could be a long one.
Yeah, it could be, and ironically, that was not getting loose like you would think. He was in trouble when he got into the corner. When you overdrive a corner here, much like road courses, you hear about wheel hop, you losing the back end. That's a thing here. You can, and that's what it really looked like. He got in there, cooked it in there a little hot, turned around there. But you know what? Lucky for him, there's no contact with any walls around here.
No, and, John, before we got this thing kicked off, I pulled up Courtney, and I may have been the commentator's curse, so I apologize, Courtney, but I asked him how long he was getting on a fuel run. He was out there running a lot of laps. He said if you do everything right, you can get 90 laps, and what that means is if we would get these long green flag runs, I think, John, these leaders, if they can make a set of tires last that long, they may be able to one-stop this thing. I know it's early to talk strategy, but really, is it ever too early to talk strategy?
Yeah, and I think that's going to be a big if. I think you would probably lose quite a bit of pace. But, these guys, well, let me rephrase that. I would lose a lot of pace. These guys have more talent, I think, in their pinkies than I do altogether in one of these cars. So I wouldn't put anything past these guys to try to stretch it and do that. But I have to think with flat track and the speed you're carrying here in the corner, tire wear will be a thing here today.
Yeah, we do have the Dude Wipes machine. I believe that's the Fish Man. Our Daytona winner coming down pit road. And, well, John, that's kind of why I brought up strategy. I think, he's actually got some damage maybe on that left front. I see him maybe trying to hammer that out. But I would think about coming in and splashing off the fuel if I'm in the back. Is that something maybe you'd consider?
Well, sure. If I'm towards the back, that's a great strategy because this is a track that you will lose a lap if you have to pit. You might even almost lose 2 laps here if you have to pit under green. And if you can go in and top off and run a few laps longer and somebody has an issue towards pit road, well, guess what? You've just trapped a good part of the field a lap down when that's a huge advantage.
And we see the pace car pull off here. They'll go down the front stretch. And I'm going to make up for that start not being live. Man, my apologies, but if I'm being honest.
It's all right. You're new here. We'll just say that. You're new here.
May not be the only time this year, if we're being honest, but the green flag's high. It's ready to fly as we approach the Geico restart zone. Tom Ogle going to drop that hammer, and that's a good jump. The 23 of Robinson maybe caught sleeping a little bit. Masur, can he get to the inside? No, he's going to crack that throttle and just fall back in line. Maybe a little too early to race hard, he's thinking.
Yeah, early on in the race, that's, the risk and reward. You got to be kind of, doing that calculation in your mind almost the whole race. And that changes, as the race goes on. But early on, trying to force something that, might put you in a bad spot or another driver in a bad spot, usually not the best idea this early on.
And Mark Fish, he was able to get back out there on the racetrack, but I noticed he's going real slow. John, our Daytona 500 winners going down pit road. He's going to go in here. Car must not be handling right. Must have got involved. That left front's definitely crinkled up. But up front, man, It's all Tom Ogle, and we saw this for a little bit at Daytona, John, but it got taken away when him and the teammates started going hard. And Tom, I think he'd love to find himself locked into the championship here coming out of the desert.
Well, I'm sure, but you know what? He's not the only one. So these guys are going to have it out here over the next 100 some odd laps. So I do think the end of this race, just like today. I mean, if you watch the race, the Cup race today, guys are pretty well minded their P's and Q's throughout the race. But boy, once that pay window open, all bets are off.
Oh, man, it was that way all weekend. The Xfinity race as well, with Almirola getting the gloves off, coming to the line. This place, it's got that attitude now, you know. Oh, the 81.
Oh, we got one around. This has got to clog the track up. Yep. Everybody's going in.
Daniel Hill, that was him coming through. He collected into the 59. Oh, no, it's still got guys locking up. Oh, man, John. This is one where if you made it through, you just gained yourself a ton of points.
Yeah, and you know, the thing is, there was a lot of tire smoke. iRacing's done a really nice job at simulating tire smoke when somebody gets around. And I'm going to tell you, the guys coming into that probably had very little idea of what was going on, where the cars were stopped, everything else. So, that's one. It looks like that one there, I think, might have been a little contact there that sent the 81 car around there.
Yeah, it looked like he got a little help from, I think that was the 63. Couldn't tell the sponsor on that, but it almost reminded me of that Bill Elliott paint job Mac tonight. It looked like the McDonald's M on the front. I couldn't tell, but he just gets up out of the throttle, gets into the side, and that's 69. He ends up paying a big price too as well.
And Sean Foltz, last season's runner-up, is caught in another one. What a nightmare start of the season for him.
I'm thinking we're going to go for a ride here with the Double Deuce Bruce Pearson. Here he is, the Mission 22 machine. And John, this is where you say that smoke. You can't see anything right now.
No.
You can see nothing.
No, and like I said, iRacing's done a really nice job here. I think the last few builds and getting some of this stuff, not only just the smoke, but, you know, marbles on the track, things like that. You know, we don't have it here, but some tracks where you go through the infield or something like that, you'll kick stuff up on the track. Over the last several years, they've really upped their game on stuff like that. And I was a victim of that yesterday in a 6-hour race. We had an incident in front of us and you could not see through it and just got collected into it. And, you know, you see it all the time with the real world counterparts. You know, you just go in there and hold your wheels steady, get off the gas, and pray you don't either hit someone with the nose or get hit from somebody from behind.
No, yeah, the lights go off on the pace car. And, well, John, one thing, you know, we haven't really had to highlight, but since NASCAR has introduced this next-gen car, you can see it is much more durable. Not that you want to beat it up and, treat it like your little brother. You want to treat it a little better than that. But, like, we saw Daniel Hill. He had made some pretty hard contact. And, I mean, he's still out there on the racetrack running on about the inside of row 8. So, feeling confident to stay out there and see what he's got. But Tom Ogle here as we roll into turn 3 and 4. Set to enter that Geico restart zone, and you get the advantage, that throttle jump. And John, this is one of the only restart zones where we didn't really talk about that. You're kind of in the middle of a turn, so if you're on that outside, not cheating it a little bit, boy, is it a disadvantage to be on the outside.
Yeah, one of the best things to do if you're stuck there on that outside is get up, just maybe just to barely get a nose ahead of them, so when they fire, you fire with them.
Yeah, the 43 tried to take a peek on the inside, John, but we saw our first taste of how important momentum is coming out of 2. And the 55 had that groove on the outside. And now Dale Copeland, welcome to the top 3. He's got that Chick-fil-A machine moving. I may have to order me a chicken sandwich.
Yeah, that doesn't sound too bad. Nice grilled chicken sandwich from Chick-fil-A there. But, hey, You were talking about, the momentum. The other thing is, too, if you're on the outside and you can pinch somebody off coming out of 2, that means they got to put more wheel into it, which kicks the back out, and they can't get that run. We saw what happens if you kind of try to throttle through it. A second ago, it caused a big wreck on that backstretch.
Yeah, and John, we had talked a little bit about those tire temps, and the more wheel you're putting into it on the inside, how long do you think you can make a run at a guy on the inside before you have to kind of back out of it and just cut your losses?
I would back out of it pretty early here. I mean, we touched on it. 3 sets of tires that you're going to have at your disposal. You know what? Save your stuff. Live to fight another day this early on here.
And we're seeing a lot more single file here until we get to about the mid-pack, which is the 26 there, taking a look on the inside. That's more. And man, oh man, that Rusty's machine on the outside of Wolford, he has been dedicated to that outside every time we've seen him, and it can't help but reflect on the NASCAR race today. The guys that ran the outside seem to have the long-run car, John, and I think we might see that translate here again tonight.
Well, it might, because, if you're running up in the middle groove, which, for here would be the high line, you're putting less wheel into it. When you put more wheel to hug that yellow line, you're going to go faster just here being on the bottom, but you're going to put more use in it. Every crank of that wheel, every degree more, you've got to turn that wheel. That's going to eat your tires up just a little bit more. So if you can get a good rhythm going and run about the middle of the track, which, the high line for our purposes here, you know what? You're probably going to come out ahead here towards the end of this run.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, the trash man, Daniel Hill, he's ready to go. Even after getting involved in that accident, he's moved up 6 spots here since the restart, and definitely made up from that caution. But man, how much of his stuff is he using? He's working to get to the bottom. Now we see a guy who, John, I spoke so highly of last week in that 40. I said on there, we give him the commentator's curse. He overshoots the corner a little bit, locks up the brakes. It got sketchy behind him, but Andrew Kafka, no longer a rookie. Welcome to being able to qualify, and I'm anxious to see what this guy can do the rest of the season, because, man, he might have won that thing at COTA last week. He would have gave Courtney a run for his money if he got the chance.
Yeah, and that little slide and all that at the lap, that's what you call wrecking without actually hitting anything.
Yeah, no kidding. And, not only that, but now you got to really take it easy for this next lap and a half, 2 laps. Your tires are going to be mad at you. And, when they're overheated, that's when you can do the most damage to them. So you don't want to run too aggressive and be too harsh. You got a long way to go. We're only on lap 24 here. And, if drivers are even thinking about short pitting, you got to think 50 laps at minimum, I'd say, John. Maybe 45 if you really want to be risky.
Yeah, and the battle there with Koskin, and they're finally getting in line, but I'm looking here, and most of the battling's towards the back. The guys up front are playing nice and single file, so you know what? They're going to probably, towards the end of this run, start to pull away from these guys in the back, because these guys in the back, they're fighting.
Yeah, one of the only guys he just switched back to Kotska there, but we had saw Daniel Hill. I mean, he's about to make another move here and come up to 4th. That guy is on a mission, and I'm just, it's one thing to do this 20 laps in. As we see a car real low. John, what's this entry going to look like for the 86? I think Fish maybe got scared a little bit and backed out of that too, but boy, oh boy, the 86 did a good job, Fear, holding it down low.
Yeah, a lot of times you can see from your windshield when things are kind of starting to get a little sketchy, and even when somebody actually starts to kind of wreck, you can usually see the wreck before even the driver that's probably driving that car in front of you knows they're in trouble. And yeah, you to back out and just say, we'll have to live to fight another day. The 19 just went for a big slide coming out of turn 3.
Yeah, able to catch it, though. That was, man, but John, we've been talking about it. Boy, oh boy, he's able to get up on the racetrack, but now how long? You got to take it easy, man, because that thing is going to be upset with you here.
Yeah, that's one thing. When you do get tires in iRacing upset, you have to get them back under control, because your car will not do anything that you want it to, and that includes turning through a corner. Which, it's an oval. That's kind of important.
Yeah, very important. And man, Tom Vogel just setting the pace out here. Josh Robinson, your defending champion, doing a good job of just stalking him, and that always scared me as a driver, John. You know, you're leading the way, and you wonder how much that guy behind you is really using. Is he just trying to keep pace with you, or is he using up all he's got to stick with you? That thought's going through your mind every single lap out there.
Yeah, and the nice thing is, too, you can kind of start to figure that out. Okay, they're just riding, which means you can just do your thing. You know, you don't have to worry about a serious challenge. And even so, we're working lap 30 now. I mean, you know, if he wants to go up there and lead, I would be like, hey, you knock yourself out, you know. But some guys like that clean air, like to be out front, like to control stuff. I don't think there's a right or wrong way to do it in this situation. I'd even say third and fourth, you know, just sit and just ride. Let's click some laps off and, you know, take care of our stuff. And, you know, lap 150, you know, game on.
And, you know, a guy who I always highlight, I absolutely love that navy blue. Oh, my gosh. Dude, we have the best cameraman in the business. You read my freaking mind, Ryan. The 09 of Dave Mattson. He's been up 19 spots. He didn't qualify, so, you know, it does dampen the hard charger to me a little bit. I don't know about you, John. You know, everybody's got their own opinion on it. But still, he always finds a way to nurse that thing up to the front. And with all the mistakes in front of him, Ryan had that good.
Oh, we got one around.
Oh, and we got a caution.
Oh.
No, keep it clean. Oh, he's going to dent it up a little bit. But boy, oh boy, I was just complimenting that car for keeping it clean. I would have been so mad at myself if I jinxed it.
Yeah, that kind of looked like Kellen Masur had a little bit of help there getting around.
And this is a battle for position.
Yeah.
Get some help from the Reese's machine.
Yeah, Mike Watts, got in there and kind of got him around a little bit. And, you know, that comes back from, you know, what I was saying about picking the throttle up and the nose just shoving off there. And I'm sure that Mike probably had his wheel cranked to not do that, but that car just probably took off on him. And unfortunately for Masur, you know, he's the one that really paid the price for that.
Yeah, and you could see there, too, what happens when you lock the brakes up after the contact. He still gets hard into the outside wall. You know, you lock those brakes up, you lose control. It's like driving on ice. So,
yeah, momentum is a funny thing. If you're going fast enough, it's going to take you where it wants to take you.
Yeah, very busy pit road here, and we are on lap 33. So it is a little early to dip into the tire set. Are we thinking? Maybe, John, you know, we've had our hiccups. We're due for a long green flag run. That's why we see some guys coming in.
Yeah, and, you know, even if that, you know, it's always nice to come in and see what kind of tire wear you're getting, because you can kind of plan after that, too.
Yeah, that is the one. So, to everybody out there, obviously, in NASCAR, if you go out there and they would take this set of tires off, you could put it back on the car in real life. Now, we don't have that luxury in iRacing, so it is nice to be able to go in there and see your tire wear, but man, oh man, losing that set this early and not being able to bring them back, that's a scary thought to me. But it looks like there were a couple drivers, and one of them, John, we know pretty well, stayed out, and Alan Wanamaker is your new leader here at the Phoenix Raceway.
That's a bold strategy, Cotton. We'll have to see how it plays out. I think these new tires are going to be a big advantage here.
Yeah, and now, you know, okay, this isn't, obviously they may be thinking different, John, but if you're still out on the racetrack this early, are you committed to pretty much trying to go one stop? You're hoping for long?
No, not at all. I think you can still, we get another caution, lap 50, 60, or whatever. I think what going longer, what it does is maybe gives you an extra set of tires. So if you get a late caution, let's say like around lap 150, hey, you got an extra spare of shoes there in the pit area, and that can be big at the end of the day.
Yeah, especially, you know, right there, you said that lap 150 mark, you come out with a 20 lap shootout here with new sneakers, man. You'll feel like Superman out there with a new cape flying on the outside. we'll have to see here what Alan Wanamaker can do with these old shoes he's got on. As the pace truck rolls off, man, drivers really spanning out here. This is
yeah.
this is gonna make it a little hectic here. As
you got guys going to the back. Yeah, guys are driving to the back. It looks like, but they better hurry up and get back there.
Yeah, man, because the green flag's high. It's ready to fly.
They delayed it.
Here we go. One lap. Hey, the green flag was pretty high there. They had it pretty high up in the air, but had to swap it back out with that yellow.
Well, you know, most of us children of the '80s will appreciate that. I think the flag man just went psych. I think that's back from way back when here.
Yeah, it's better than.
You're too young for that. Don't worry. But everybody that's probably over 40 probably just, you know, they understood.
The thing that gets me now is, and I understand it's safety, John, but when I was a little kid, I would mimic that flag man with my own set of flags. I would bug my dad.
Every racetrack in America has somebody down there, or kids down there that do that.
I was that kid, and we can't get rid of the flag man.
I've actually seen, there's some racetracks I've seen that have grown adults doing that too. So teach their own, enjoy the races. That's what it's about.
That's right. It's all about having fun out there, and see how much fun Alan Wanamaker's about to have. Like I say, old sneakers for the top 8, new tires in row 5. We'll see what they got. The green flag waves were back underway, and I think Alan maybe spun the tires a little bit there, shifting, and Kelvin takes the lead on the high side. Oh, Tom Ogle!
Oh, big rock.
No, Tom Ogle, he was your leader. Oh, he came down pit road, gets himself in the middle of traffic.
Oh, they're still rocking.
Oh, no. We're going to have to take a look at this. But, boy, that is heartbreak for these guys. And, you know, it looks like the 17 maybe misses a shift too, John. That's my only guess, because the 11 just closes in so fast. And
missed the shift, man. Or they started in 4th. Yeah, they can, because, you know, if they were playing catch-up or whatever, oh, yeah, that's just, I think Ogle just misjudged it. But, you know, the contact, I don't think the contact's going to be fatal. I think the car may handle a little different. You might have some increased tire wear, but I think both he and Victor Lane there, I think are going to be just fine. But Zach, you know, I've done this. I'm sure everybody in this field's done this. You've come out of pit road, you catch the field, and you forget to shift back down into 2nd gear, and then you come around to start, and then you stand on it, and you don't go anywhere, and you realize you're in 4th gear. That could also was that play there.
Yeah, not that, you know, I never argue with you, John. The only reason that I think it was maybe tire spinning is because we saw Wanamaker do it too. And it is in their rule book. I remember reading it, that restarts, you're required to start in 2nd gear. I actually saw a guy get a penalty after Daytona for restarting in 3rd gear. So you are required, according to league rules, to restart in 2nd gear. You know, we've all slipped up, like you said there, John, but I think, man, those old tires may be coming to bite him. And is Alan Wanamaker? Yeah, he actually came down pit road. A couple of those guys came down pit road, John, maybe counting their lucky stars that they were able to survive that restart.
Yeah, I would think the same thing, to be honest with you. I might be buying a lottery ticket after the race.
Yeah, because the only one to stay out front is that Navy machine of Dave Madsen. Everyone else has made a pit stop. So Dave all on his own out here. And this is where, you know, maybe not to say that, it seems like these guys are all fairly experienced. But, John, if you're the 55, you know that guy on the inside row when you get this restart has old tires. You maybe drive a little more cautious, know that you've got some good stuff, and you might fumble this restart.
Yeah. I mean, you start to overthink what you want to do or what everybody else is going to do, and then when it comes time to actually execute the plan, yeah, sometimes you mess it up a little bit.
And the lights go back on, so they want to go around one more time here. Not going to go.
Yeah, the back of the pack needs to get organized here.
And right now, you see, we're down to 29 on the lead lap. So, man, I told you, we were going to dance with the devil here tonight if it's going to get hot. It's a slick racetrack out here. You see guys slipping and sliding. And, well, John, shame on us for not talking about it, but you did mention it. That funnel, when guys wreck coming out of turn 2, there's going to be nowhere for anyone to go. 3 and 4, at least you can go down to the apron, but that front stretch, you got the pit wall, you got the outside wall, you got to hold on and go for the ride.
Well, you do. And the other thing about this track, unlike a couple of the other tracks, it's just not forgiving. If you overdrive a corner or you start to get loose, it's just not forgiving. You usually, if you're going to make a mistake, it's going to cost you one way or another. It's just going to depend on the severity of how much it costs you.
So now we'll have to see. We'll have to keep an eye out on that 18 or of Tom Ogle, see how well he can move up through the field. But the eye's got to be on that Navy machine. We saw the difficult restart for the old tires the last time. He's going to go for it one more time. And, man, I'm telling you, if I'm around, I'm on that microphone with my teammates. I'm pretty sure Daniel and Josh are teammates. And I'm saying, guys, let's take this easy here. Let's watch to the inside as we roll through 3 and 4, go into the Geico restart zone. Good jump there for the 09. He's not worried about the old tires. That was a great restart for Dave.
Yeah, went early in the restart box there and is able to get a nice jump as he controls the field now going into 1.
Yeah, and Dale Copeland trying to take advantage of that good restart as well, trying to build up some momentum on the inside. But look at the trash man on the outside. I said I like that high line for the long run. He's been through the ringer, man. He's been involved in that accident, the big pile up on the front stretch, and he's still gotten that 207 into the top 4. Great run for Daniel here.
Yeah, and it's cool to see. We're still, we're now 43 laps in here. You are seeing different lines play out. You see guys, especially through 1 and 2. Some guys down on the yellow line, some guys in line up, and heck, we've even seen a third line for a couple of guys.
Yeah, and we had talked about Andrew Kotska earlier. He got rid of that rookie number, and now he's sitting there in 6th. He's trying to get to the top 5. But man, oh man, anytime I see that 77 out on the asphalt, I automatically assume that's the hardest car on the racetrack to pass. Former friend of ours, Bob Light, man, that always rubs off on me. Andrew, he may have his work cut out for him.
Yeah, and I think everybody to make passes are going to have their hands, full, just from the standpoint of to get around somebody, you got to go where they're not, which means usually you're going to have to go to an area of the track that maybe you're not running.
We knew this was coming. It was only a matter of time. The fresh sneakers were going to prevail. Josh Robinson taking a peek to the inside. But, John, this is where, if you're that 09, I think if you're going to make them pass on the inside, you make them burn up some rubber.
Yeah, try to pinch them down. Try to, make them put a lot of wheel in that car to get it around the corner.
Yeah, Dave, he's doing a good job, man. He's keeping a lot of room. He's not going down and trying to pinch. And I think he's seen some of the madness. He's just happy to stay out of it for now. But, we are getting to that time. I talk about it all the time with these guys. I'm telling you it's coming. We're getting a green flag pit stop today. I'm not going to jinx it. And if you're I almost did jinx it. Oh, man, a little loose again. Coming off a 2. And boy, oh boy, that 07, he throws it right back in there. He's happy with the grip. That was risky. I would have maybe backed that down. Andrew Kotska taking a peek now to get himself in the top 5. And all this while they're rolling up on Dave Madsen, John. They got some old tires in front of them, so you don't want to find yourself boxed in here if you're Kotska.
No, but he's being patient. I've been watching him work his way through the field here. He's being very measured where he's putting his car and how he's completing these passes. I haven't really seen him do a whole lot that I think would really use up the car.
Here comes a guy we haven't seen up here towards the top 5 since Daytona, but Dwayne MacArthur, man, showing he's bringing that thing to the front. I love that DeWalt Bass Pro scheme he's gotten. Now he's taking a peek to the inside of the 77 of Roger Hurley. Can he make it stick? That's a deep send, but he's got the grip. And Hurley not really being aggressive off the corner. I thought we'd see the high side prevail, but I think the 77, he knows we got a long way to go.
Absolutely, and you know what? The leader's now nose to tail. You know, it almost has a look of maybe you might see a challenge here in the next few laps.
Yeah, and John, we haven't had to talk about it, and it's not. Is it as big as maybe Formula One? No. Yeah, but you don't want to be that guy stuck in line because, John, you're going to beat up your tires a lot more than being out in clean air, and you do feel that on iRacing. You really, really do.
Oh man, it's a great battle for the lead.
Yeah, and I think it just comes down to, you know, like you say, he wants to get out in that clean air, set the pace, so you're willing to run hard on the inside here for a couple laps. Oh man!
He's running hard, that's for sure.
Yeah, now the
open the door for Hill.
Oh yeah, he's gonna look low now. The 55 goes up there and cuts him off going through the dog leg. Had to play a little defense there to the Chick-fil-A machine. And all this too, you know, not too far out of the picture, we see him there. I am really impressed with that 09 of Dave Matson, John. He's been able to hang with them up here. You know, he's obviously fallen back, but not the fall off that I thought we'd see. And if we do have that late caution, John, he's got the extra set that a lot of these drivers do not have.
Yeah, he will, but he's going to have some luck in that too. You know, a bunch of guys taking tires, so you can't go to the back and work your way back up to the front in 20 laps. But if he can get a start about 8th, 9th, 10th, somewhere in there, oh yeah, look out.
Yeah, speaking of look out, Tom Ogle got that 11 machine coming back towards the front, the 17 trying to follow him. Remember, he was involved in an earlier spin as well. So we're seeing two guys trying to rebound here, but they're at the point where, you know, John, they don't have the luxury of thinking big picture here, long run. You got to kind of go get people while you can and just hope you get a caution at the right time.
Absolutely here.
Ooh, we got a peek here under the Dude Wipes machine. Mark Fish on the top
shelf.
A
lap car just pulled out in front of the leader. Guy came out of the pits and he gets to the top side there. Well, that was almost really, really sketchy.
Yeah, I believe that was the 105 machine of Torrance Childs, and he's still going a little slow down the front stretch here.
Yeah.
You can see guys trying to avoid him, and I know he's trying to stay out of the way, John, but that's why we always say you just run your line. We will get around you where we get comfortable, and man, oh man, right out there in the racing line, that was scary for your defending Cup champion here in the OBRL series. He had to have had a little code brown there.
Yeah, a little bit there, and you never want to completely second guess it because he was trying to get up and out of the way there. So his intent there was good, but in situations like that, you really want to see somebody maybe stay down off the racing line, let everybody work their way around you, then blend as they come out of turn 2. At least here at this track.
Yeah, and
we got a caution.
Oh, caution flag waves. Mike Watts around. Not too sure if this is another. We've seen a couple individual car spins. It doesn't look like a big mess here for the Reese's machine. Oh, no, the 17 gets loose, tags him. And, oh, John, that is a hard hit, and that might be the end of his night.
Oh, yeah, I saw it, the rear tire go in, and then, he plows the inside wall, too. And, oh. Yeah, we saw the 17 struggle keeping that car under him a little bit earlier, and now once again it kind of raises its head here, and this time it really, really costs Watts here, Mike Watts. All
right, my eyes are glued to pit road.
Some are showing it.
Third place, yeah, it looks like Dan Hill. Is he bluffing? Oh, he bluffed.
But here comes your 09.
Yeah, the 09, he's got to come in now. He absolutely has to come in. Now, you know, that was what I was going to ask you, but these guys answered it. I was a little too slow. You know, we're on lap 57, so we basically 118 laps to go. You know, we have had some caution laps, but I think, you know, these guys, they may be wanting to pit if they're up front, but definitely too early to go. I think 120 laps on 2 sets of tires.
Yeah, and there was just a handful of guys on pit road here, and this is what I was talking about with Aston taking the extra set of tires. He's going to be towards the back. It's going to be really tough for him to capitalize now on a new set of tires. I don't know that he'll get back up where he was running, but for these other guys that are towards the back, it's a great chance to top off maybe if we get that green flag run, be able to run a little bit longer. If there's an issue, then we've seen a lot of cautions here. Maybe you can catch people out and get them a lap down.
Yeah, and Luke Lane driving on the outside right now in that 21 code red machine. He gets his lap back here, so lucky dog for Mr. Lane, and this could be the break he needs. We've seen the mayhem in front. That car, John, looks pretty straight. So, for the most part, if he's got the sets of tires, I think he can climb on up the hill because we do have some beat-up race cars. So he's just got to keep that thing nice and clean, and he might be able to bring home, top 25 here tonight after being a lap down, and that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, and after also just kind of give an update on Mike Watts, after taking it to his crew, overlooking the car, he's decided that the best thing is to put her on the trailer and move on to Las Vegas.
Oh, man, who's going to pull 21 next week? Vegas, one of my favorite tracks, man. Oh, God, that's always been such a good racing racetrack.
Yeah, it's going to be tough to sit up here with you and call that race because that's the same thing for me. That's one of my favorite tracks, and almost any vehicle, IndyCar, ARCA, trucks, I love that place.
I've thought about bringing it back. Anytime I think of Vegas, I think of the old NASCAR 98 game and the announcer, Benny Parsons. How every racetrack he would go to, he would say that track. Yes, John. And, oh, my gosh, I was, 98, so I was 8 years old, and I remember that to this day. He was, that's probably my favorite announcer, and the guy would try to model myself off the best here. But as we go through 3 and 4, the green flag's high, it's ready to fly. Josh with a good restart. Same with the 55 at Dale Copeland. We've seen the guy on the outside struggle a lot, but maybe he has a little agreement between him and Daniel, and he slots right down in line. And now the former rookie, Andrew Kotska, he's looking to the outside. Can Andrew pick up his first win of the year here in the desert?
Yeah, single file real early on, but from, I don't know, what is that, about 8th, 9th on back? Double file back through the back end of the field.
And they've had about 15, 20 laps on the tires, so they're not going to be terrible here on this restart. You'll still have good grip, but you see some guys slipping and sliding right now. The 82 of Mark Schrader, he is fighting that Red Bull car, man, down on the bottom. That thing, I watched it dog out on him going through the dog leg, and oh man, he had his hands full, and he still passed guys.
Yeah, it's man, oh man, he's got that car rolling.
Oh man, and now Tom Ogle, he's got a good view off that front windshield. Look at that. But Kotska, the guy, I'm telling you, man, he was my horse last week. I was rooting for him. He was a rookie, and it's still there. Andrew Kotska, welcome to the top 3, man. He's got that thing rolling. I thought, John, maybe last week that he would be what we like to call a road course ringer, but here at the mile, he's proven me wrong.
Well, I don't know. It's called a Roval for a reason. You got a little bit of road course. Oh, big wreck. Tom Ogle again's involved.
Oh, Dave Mattson in the 09 hard into the wall. The 43 goes around as well. And, man, we have seen that dog leg cause so much trouble here this evening. And you see Dave, he's even got the newer tires. He just gets loose, gets into the 43. Yep. Ogle involved. And now this is the point, John, where you talked about it in the beginning, 9X. If you are Tom Ogle, the spins that you've had, the contact that you've had, you have got to be getting close. And now, man, you gotta race like you're walking on glass here.
Yep, self-preservation mode needs to come into play now.
Yeah, I mean, that's the perfect example. You can see the 11, I mean, everything on that's still fairly straight. We had talked about it. These cars really are durable, way more durable than anything we used to have. But that 11, man, he is going to start feeling the effects of those. There's going to be some added tire wear, and, man, coming through the field, that's going to add tire wear on itself. So, Tom, he's got a long night ahead of him. And, well, somebody we don't see in the top 10 too often here, Andy Thomas. It's a guy we don't really talk about, John, that 12 machine. He's had a pretty good run up, 19 spots, and right behind him, a guy we know, In the 107, he's got Budweiser on that. Scott Negus, man. Good runs for some guys that we normally don't see up in the top 10.
Yeah, Negus is a newcomer here out of Canada, and he's a solid driver. We've raced with him, and I've raced with him a lot in BRL. And it'll be kind of neat to see what he can do here with these big cars.
Yeah, interesting you say Canada there. We do have 7 Canadian drivers right now. The highest rated Canadian is that of Andrew Kotska in P3. Dwayne MacArthur right behind him there in 4th. That's the battle for Canada right now. And Dwayne MacArthur, I don't know how much you paid him to put Bass Pro Shops on there, John, but I'm telling you, phenomenal paint job.
Love seeing a Bass Pro car, that's for sure. And the company's been good to me, my family, and I'm going to be partial, but I can still be fair and balanced here, as I call the race. But yeah, every time I see the car, do I smile? You betcha.
Well, drivers doubling up here. Lights are off on the pace car. We'll be getting ready to go back this time. And if you're Andrew, I think you got to take advantage of starting right behind the leader here. Get as close as you can to Josh and continue your climb. And if you're Daniel, I think you and Josh, you work pretty good together as teammates. I don't think you're going to run each other too hard. And we know all too well, John, Daniel, his name's in yellow there on the leaderboard. He's already locked in this chase. His teammate below is not, but he's defending champion, and I think that's got to be weighing on Daniel here. I don't know if you necessarily want to give your defending champion teammate keys to the playoffs, but the green flag's high. It's back underway as lap 67 in the books.
Good starts for the guys up front here.
And right away, MacArthur taking a peek under Kotska here for 3rd place. What kind of grip does he get coming off at 2? It's a pretty good run, but Kotska, he's got that hammer down and all the momentum on the outside. He'll be able to go down and shut the door if he wants to. He's going to leave the lane open, and man, MacArthur going to use every inch of that grip down there, but Kotska proven to be too much on that outside line at the moment.
Yeah, momentum on a restart, because those feel goods still feel really good when even after a restart they cool down a little bit. So yeah, maybe a little bit later you might see the 83 come back there and MacArthur come back there and challenge for that spot again.
Yeah, Daniel had a run there coming out of 2. He took a little peek going down the backstretch, but he decided not to go for it. But he is all over the back of that 23 of Josh Robinson. You got to think, after the climb he's had, involved in the early accident, got some damage on that thing, man. He wants to lead this thing more than anybody, but Tom Ogle, he goes to the bottom. He's moving on up back through the pack, and we talked about it, John, those incident points, he's got to be careful.
Yeah, I would think so. I think I'd fall back and save what I have until the end of the race at the very least.
Top, I'd say about 9 or 10 single file. This is where we start getting racy there. The 19, he loses a little grip there in the center of the corner. He's got to back out of it, going to lose 2, maybe even 3 spots here if the Napa machine can get a run. And Negus on the outside here. He's letting the 15 of Daryl Weininger to the inside. And Negus, he's got that 3-digit number. We talked about him, John, being a rookie. I think not here to make any enemies, but somebody who maybe won't mind making some. He's had a bad night, Tom Ogle. He is passing on the high side, the low side, anywhere he can go.
Yeah, and Zach, back up front. We have a car that just came out of pit road once again. Pulls up. They're probably about 5, 6, 7, 8 car lengths in front of the leaders. I kind of wonder if that's not going to open an opportunity for some of these guys to maybe try to make a move as they try to work around them.
Yeah, and we had talked about earlier that car in second kind of experiencing some more tire wear. And what happens is you get a little bit of an aero push. You got to get a little more wheel into the car. You start sliding those front tires. And that's something, too. Dave Mattson, he was out front a little bit earlier, got turned in that last caution. He probably wants to stay on the lead lap here, John. He's not going to just pull over. So Josh may experience some of that tightness.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lucky dog here, so you don't want to lose another lap here. But, yeah, he is a couple laps down here, and that, there is some incentive for him to try to stay up there. My guess is just from what I've seen here in this league and how guys, kind of the unwritten code maybe, I won't be a bit surprised if those guys do get close enough to him. He might move up out of the way there so he doesn't really interfere with the leaders.
Yeah, you definitely, obviously he's probably out there on fresher rubber than the leaders, but you do got to feel for him. He was running up towards the front. We've seen guys pit, get involved in cautions, but we're watching Andrew Kotska thought about making a run there coming off of 2, but he just didn't have the grip, and Daniel shuts the door going down into the corner as we see Tom Ogle. He adds another one to the list. Puts Tom Ogle up to 17th now. He's still 6 seconds back of the leaders, so he's got a long way to go. But we're still, John, we're on lap 75 here, coming to lap 76. We're not even halfway, so there is plenty of time here to make up ground.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, right, I've been kind of watching the last lap or two, but the 40 there of Kotska, he's starting to look a little racy. He's taking a couple peeks to the inside of Hill here. So, man, those guys are just going way up the track in 1 and 2 and kind of dominating the corner. That is a very unique line. If the next time they come through 1 and 2, if we can see it, they go in and just kind of roll. But you watch them, they'll hit the corner entry kind of low. They go up the track and then right back down the track on corner exit. You want to talk about tire management, that's the way to do it. They go down the middle and then right up to the top and turn right back down right here, right back on the yellow line as they come out.
Ooh,
and Hill's into the wall.
Yeah, he got that wall pretty good. And now in this car, we talk about it, it's forgiving. It'll let that go, but you do that a couple more times, and man, oh man, you might break.
Well, you could see it break his momentum, and Kotska had to kind of lift for a second to not get into the back of him. But, if Kotska was in the right spot, he could have taken advantage of that and got to his inside.
Now remember, we saw Negus go to the outside and let Weininger on by earlier, but now Negus back to the inside, flexing his muscles, gets back around Darrell as Darrell kisses that front stretch wall. We're watching guys pick up that throttle as early as they can coming off of 2, and maybe just not aware that the tires don't want them to pick up the throttle as early as they were.
Yeah, now we're working lap 79 here. You guys are probably now starting to settle in here. I think this is probably where we're going to see a long green flag run. They've been like you said, a lot of incident points for a lot of guys early on, I'm going to guess. I think guys are going to be a little more careful, but I just got a feeling I think we're about to hit that long run right here.
Yeah, and you got to be thinking, John, so you've got 2 sets of tires left, and like I mentioned earlier, about 90 laps on a fuel run. What's the earliest we think about coming in here to pit if we've got green flag stops? Because, well, man, Kotska just got in the wall pretty good coming off of 2, and now Mick Arthur's taking a peek here for 3rd place. I'm not sure if he's going to get the run. But Kotska, that was a tough wall tap there for him.
Well, and that's a sign of tire wear, because he's probably doing things that he was doing a few laps ago, and the car is just not doing the same thing. Yeah, and that means, hey, that's your sign. Okay, I need to adjust a little bit. Don't have the grip. That means that I've got to wait a little bit longer before maybe I get into the throttle, or I roll the center a little bit further, back your corners up. There's a lot of adjustments that you can do behind the wheel, and this is the time that now you start making those adjustments.
Yeah, and obviously, too, some drivers may have that. I know sometimes, especially being a dirt guy, I have that kind of gung-ho mentality sometimes, and we've been seeing the short stints with the cautions. And, are you a driver? Are you able to flip that switch now and go from needing to go get it here short runs to, man, we may stay green the rest of the way? You've got to be able to master both disciplines.
Yeah, but these guys up here up front, I think they're minding their P's and Q's here now. Now the question's going to be, almost a game of chicken. So who's going to come to pit road first? Because if we get green flag runs and you pit and it cycles through properly, you're going to have a big advantage because those guys are going to run a few laps on old tires. You're going to have new tires, and you could be a second a lap faster. So you can do an undercut here, that would be huge.
Yeah, and you know, John, another thing we meant or didn't, can't remember if we mentioned, but at green flag pit stop, you go a little too early. Now, you know, my math may be a little off here, but you're going a lap down.
Yeah, but you know what though? Like I said, the key to it is cycling through. If it cycles through, no cautions, everything, you know, stays status quo through the pit cycle. You going in early and getting fresh rubber and getting back out on that track is a big advantage.
Tom Ogle trying to work his way back into the top 15 as he's taking a peek under Wolford in that Lightning McQueen machine. And right up the road there, that 12 of Thomas. Look at him. He powers his own way on by. Got to think maybe Mr. Martin there, Bill, just taking it easy. Didn't want to get shuffled up on the outside. And that's what you like to see here. We're not at the halfway point. If a guy behind you is really being aggressive, making that move, John, just let him go.
Yeah, I mean, that's always the best thing to do, I think, just early on. Especially, again, I know you sound like a Morgan Lecker, but 9 incidents. You know, for those of you that don't have iRacing, every time that you tap a wall, that could create an incident point. If you hit another driver, that can be 4. So you've seen a lot of the contact, you know. Even spinning out will cause you, I think, a 1 or 2x nowadays. You know, so that's what we got a caution. Oh, in front of the leaders, the 42.
Oh, Mark Fish, your Daytona winner here. The trouble continues for the Fish man as we're under caution, I believe, for the 4th time, possibly 5th time, but we watched that dude wipes machine.
Oh, lost it on his own.
Yeah, talked about it, John. That was the perfect example. It looked like he just drove in there a little hot. The rear end got real light and overcorrected up into the wall.
Easy to do. Pit road's going to be interesting here.
Yep, you read my mind, John. What do we do here? We got 2 sets of tires left. We're coming to lap 89 this time. It looks like the drivers want to come down. Now, this would put us at about 45, 46 laps per set of tires. I think that's right where you want to be. This is maybe a good time to do this.
Yeah, I think so. I wonder if anybody here will try just taking 2 sets and then getting themselves some track position. If they got that extra set left in the pits, you know what? Maybe roll the dice here. Take 2, jump a bunch of cars, and hope for the best.
Yeah, that's, you know, Ryan, you're so good at your job. Nobody else can hear him, but he said the 86 stayed out, and I was just waiting for my partner to finish talking. Let's pull up that the driver of the 86 here. I'm interested to hear this strategy. Hey, Jonathan, broadcast the Shaggy up in the booth, man. You got a copy?
Yeah, what's going on?
Well, hey, man, so we thinking track position is king. What's the strategy here for the rest of the race?
Oh, well, the strategy for me here was I didn't think and forgot to pit. So I definitely wanted to.
Well, you know, I respect that honesty, and I respect that crash dummy race helmet. That's a pretty good-looking race helmet. Now, how many sets of tires do we have left? Do we have 2 sets?
Yeah, I've still got 2 left, so if the way things are going, I should be able to get into the next 10 laps or so with the next yellow, so we'll see.
Well, Jonathan, John, you got any questions for him?
No, I'm all good, man. Just trying to survive this thing.
Oh, best of luck here to you, and keep your foot down and don't look back. That's my advice, the way things have been going already.
Thanks, fellas. Well, we'll see you later.
Yep.
I respect the heck out of that honesty. I just wasn't paying attention, and I missed it because, yeah, John, you know, you and I were probably thinking the same thing. If you're the only guy to stay out there on tires, oh, man, it's not going to be fun for him out there, I don't think.
Yeah, and you know what, Zach? I was watching the drivers exit pit road. Koska jumped the other 2. He was able to get on and off, get his service, and now he is going to be ahead of Josh and those other guys.
Yep, and it was all about that pit road time. He was a 1.5 seconds quicker getting in and out of his stall than everybody else. 56 seconds to 57 and 58 for the other guys. So that is it's a tough break for them. We see some guys going down pit road, but I think we're getting ready to go green.
One slowly going down on the man. These guys have struggled with restarts here and getting lined up quick.
As we
Number
enter the restart
Yeah.
zone, we extend the caution one more time here. We're going to go around
Which is the
another
right
lap
call.
here.
Yep.
Yeah, definitely the right call, because that would have been a sketchy restart for the guys in the back being 3 wide.
Well, in iRacing, you know, again, we're living in a virtual world. That can cause black flags throughout the field, and cause some guys some real problems. So that's why getting that lineup and then extending that is so important. Because if he was to hit that start-finish line still rolling, but ahead of a couple of other guys, those guys, he would have gotten a black flag for it.
Yeah, very important. And man, that's one thing we've seen the admins, not just tonight, but they have done an outstanding job in this league. Just to issuing the penalties. I mean, we're privy to see the penalty report that a lot of you guys don't see it. That penalty report is out within 2 hours of this race being over. These guys are absolutely on it.
Zach, watch this restart. Watch this pole sitter. Those old tires, everybody else on fresh one. He said he wanted to wait to the next caution. He's going to have to try to not be the next caution.
You're exactly right here as we go through the Geico restart zone. Little bit of a late start there. He was maybe waiting for the green. Not too familiar possibly to being out front here at Phoenix, because that was late. And I think with the old tires, that's not what you want to do to yourself. I think we saw the 09 of Dave Matson with the perfect start earlier. You got to get that jump if you're going to be on old tires.
3 wide going into the turn.
Yeah, and the guy in the bottom's got old sneakers. There's contact. Daniel Hill gets moved up into his teammate Josh Ryan.
4 wide.
4 wide. Dwayne MacArthur to the bottom.
Yeah. This is what I talked about. He doesn't want to be the caution. I knew this was going to be interesting.
Yeah, and you know, now he's finally got a way to shuffle himself to the outside, but boy, oh boy, he's got to catch his breath here the next lap or two, and we've got a new leader, Andrew Koska. Man, oh man, I can't call him a rookie anymore, John, but he just continues to impress.
Yeah, he sure did. Took advantage of the leader being a sitting duck, and I bet you next time there's a caution, 86 there, he remembers not. He remembers to get to pit road, because he's gonna end up all the way in the back by the time this is said and done. Oh, Hill is up into the wall. He's gonna reach 2 spots.
Yeah, he entered it a little deep there, and it looked like it maybe got a little loose, and instead of overcorrecting it, just let it catch itself in the outside wall, which, you know, these things are durable. It can handle that, but boy, oh boy, that's a couple times for him now, and Tom Ogle continues to make the climb. He's battling for 12th here. It looks like he's going to get this pretty easy.
For 3rd.
Ooh, Daniel Hill looking to the outside. Here's MacArthur, gets the run on the inside. Daniel, man, it looked like he got that wall again, John. He's going to autograph that thing.
Yeah, he's pushing. He does not want to give that 3rd place up. So, and hey, you know, power to him. We are getting down to it now. I mean, we now are in the second half of the race. So, you know what? You're going to be a little less, you know, give. A lot more take coming up here now.
Yeah, and you know, this is where we're at the interesting part. We saw a couple guys stay out in the long run. I think if we get a caution in about 20 laps, you could see those guys maybe take advantage of that extra set of tires come in when these guys have to stay out, and just hope that we don't have a late race caution. But man, with the way these guys are battling here, we may end up getting another one, because they are going hard all over this racetrack. The 07 to the inside. Scott Negus now taking a peek here. Negus floats up a little bit. Man, they get close. Oh, he's able to catch it, John. He was drifting out of 2.
Yeah, and you know, the one thing about doing these long races, for those of us that, you know, do Saturday night specials, 30, 40 laps, but when you can come in and change tires, and just after being on a pretty long run, and having used tires, you just don't know how good your car feels. And guys will get awful ambitious when their cars feel really good.
Yeah, and you know, this is where you really got to make sure you don't take too big a bite out of that apple, because you've got a long way to go. And I keep stressing that 90 laps. John, with that pit stop, they can go the rest of the way if they have to. And I think if you're out in the top 5, you've got to plan on this thing going the rest of the way green, even if you don't want it to. So you got to save some stuff here. And if you get a caution, well, then you get the new tires as an early Christmas present. You can't rely on them.
Yeah, but if I'm out front, I'm playing the odds. We've had quite a few cautions. I would have to think we're going to get another one. But like you said, you got to plan for the best or plan for the worst and hope for the best. So Yeah, the best way to save your stuff, get out front and control the pace.
Tom Ogle gets another one. He's up to 11th now, and now he's behind the Red Bull machine of Mark Schrader. And I think with the way Tom's driving that White Claw machine, man, it's only a matter of time till he gets that thing back up here with the leaders. But boy, oh boy, that Lightning McQueen machine, he's been caught on the outside all night here. And now we see the Napa machine dive to the inside. And I couldn't tell who that was in front, but that thing looked a little beat up on that 81 on the outside. And yeah, that's Bates. So Chris Bates, that 81 machine, definitely suffered a little bit of right front damage, but it shouldn't impact the car too much. See here, Dustin Martinson ducking to the inside in the 19, and oh, I thought for a moment there, remember the 33, Courtney Nelson, he had a rough start to this race, but he's kept out there plugging away. He's gotten the thing back up to 31st, John, and you know, I mean, he is already in the playoffs, but at the end of the day, those points are going to matter. So to get it back out there and keep slugging away, that's how you win a championship.
Yep, every point counts throughout the season, so that's got to be your mentality. So get back out there. Yeah, things didn't go the way you want. You're not going to get the finish you want, but you never know through attrition. You might be able to pick up a handful of points between now and the end of the race.
And I've been keeping an eye here on these leaders. Josh Robinson is slowly... Oh, Scott Negus! Hard into the wall going down the backstretch. Now he's in the pit road wall. Oh, man, he got really loose coming out of 2 and no caution on the racetrack. But Negus, he's going to have to go down pit road, John. He got into the wall hard.
Yeah, he did. He's not even trying to get it up to speed, even though the field's back around there. Now he's starting to get her back up there, and it'll be interesting to see if that car turns going down into 1. But, yeah, he's going to have to bring her to pit road.
Yeah, and that was another one, you know, you saw there at the top of the screen. Tom Ogle barely squeaked by there, and if he would have got involved in that, oh, man, that could have been the end of it with how we're guessing his...
Well, and Negus did not bring that to pit road.
Okay, so Negus thinking it can handle enough, maybe just trying to stay out there, hope for a caution.
No, it can't. He's dancing all over. Those guys are passing him like they're standing still.
And you got to wonder if maybe he's not going to come down pit road again. Yeah, he's got to just be hoping for a caution at this point because he's severely off the pace. Is the 30 and the 39 battling hard here towards the tail end of the lead lap. These guys,
I don't even think that's going to be a normal pit stop either, because it looks like that toe is knocked out of that car.
No, you got to think it's going to at least put him a couple laps down, even if he can pit under caution, which is a tough break for the rookie, but long season here in the OBRL YesterYear Cup Series, so plenty of more chances to go out there and get it. But there's the caution flag. Did Scott Negus stay out? The answer is yes. So we'll have to see if it's enough to repair that thing. But Roger Hurley, he goes around in the 77 machine. You see Negus maybe gets a little loose in front of him. He checks up, and you know, John, when you get off your normal racing line, you lift out of the throttle, your car handling can really change.
Yeah, he might have gotten on the brakes there, right? You know, that it looked like the problem was he got on the brakes while he had that wheel turned. And you know, if you've done road racing, anything else, if you're braking and you're turning at the same time, usually the results are not good.
No, and you know, I mean, Negus, he was doing an excellent job, really, of staying out of the way with that ill-handling race car, just hoping for a little luck. You can't, you know, put that on him, but at the same time, it's a tough break for the 77, and that's just one of those, John, you got to chalk it up, live and learn moments. It can't always go your way.
No, you can't, and luckily we've harped on it enough that long season, so get out there, get your car fixed, get out there and get some laps and hope for some attrition.
I'm anxious to see here. I'm locked in on Scott Negus here. He's still on pit road as the pace car. He's coming to the pit road entrance. So he didn't have as much required repair as we thought, John. Look, he's testing the wheel, pulling out of the pits. I mean, he's going to get out. Good for Negus. And Double Deuce Bruce Pearson, he's going to make it off in time as well. So this guy's taking full advantage here of the caution. And if they had the extra set of tires, John, you're going to have a little bit of advantage on everybody else right now.
Yeah, and if I'm watching the pace car here, if the lights don't go out, we should bring somebody else up here, maybe a Josh or even Koska. And nope, they go out. So maybe next time around we'll pull in one of the leaders and see what their thoughts are for the remainder of the race, if we get another caution, that is.
Yeah, that's a good idea. We should have done that, John. Sometimes you keep all those good ideas in your head and you don't share any of them with me.
Well, I'm only allotted so many in a year. I hate burning them up. Always worries me. Just ask my wife. It's once about every, season.
I feel you there. I'd probably get the same response. Now, Josh Robinson, we haven't really seen, a guy really pinch anybody down on the restart, but a former champion here in the OBRL YesterYear Cup Series, you got to think he knows what this win would mean, and I'm anxious to see how tight he keeps it down to this 49 or this 40 machine of Kotska as he does. He starts to close into the outside here as we enter the restart zone. Kotska drops the hammer, and that's a good restart. Andrew's going to have no trouble picking whatever line he wants going into one.
That is a heck of a restart. The battle now is going to be for second.
Yeah, and Daniel Hill trying to look to the inside. He floats up a little bit. Doesn't want to drive up too much. Josh gives him plenty of room. Now, advantage 23 coming off the corner. But can he get down and shut the door? He doesn't want to force the move, and Daniel's going to stick his nose right back in there. But I think it's all for naught, John. I don't know if it's not going to make that work.
Yeah, Josh did a good job getting back in there, and now your top four are lined up. But boy, I tell you what, that 83, looking to the inside, almost 3 wide there for a minute.
Yeah, Dale Copeland shot out of a cannon there through 1 and 2. He's even got enough of a run here that he thought about taking a peek at Robinson. Robinson's been letting that door open. He likes the middle line through 3 and 4. Likes that run that he gets off the top shelf. And now we see Daniel Hill joining that party. He gets to the outside of the 55. How deep do they drive it into one? Really deep for that 207 of Daniel Hill, man. I can hear those tires screeching, and boy, oh boy, this many laps to go. I don't know if you want to do that to him, but he showed there's some speed up there if you're willing to do it. That was great defense by Daniel Hill. Oh, we see some smoke on the racetrack cars getting sideways. The 07, he's able to save it. Not without losing a bunch of spots. Tough break there for Don Easterlin in the 07.
Yeah, Easterlin was having a good run there too. So that's like you said, that's a tough break. No, Zach, I see these guys. They are running harder than they were early in the race. They are driving it in, maybe 5-10 feet, maybe even 20 feet deeper than what they were.
Yeah, and you're just going to see guys start to slide more as we progress. The deeper they drive it in, we still have plenty of time to go. And you got to think too, John, us racers are kind of selfish. Maybe you're running that guy in front of you a little harder, hoping they're the caution so you can get that last set of tires. That's always going through your head here in the closing laps.
Yeah, these guys are definitely running harder. I'm looking at lap times, and some of these guys are setting their fastest laps here in the last 15 laps or so.
Josh Robinson, man, he's been able to stay close, not close enough to take a peek. As you see that 07 of Easterlin, he's finally been able to get those tires under control and get that thing rolling back towards the front. But Don, he's got a long way to go after running in the top 10 earlier. And, man, we're rooting for him to get back up there.
Well, you want to talk about a caution interviewee candidate. Boy, Zach, look who's running in 7th. We talk about, he's just been a story unto himself. Tom Ogle is all the way back up to 7th now.
Yeah, Tom, and he's got a run here on the 15 of Weininger. He doesn't make the move just yet, but you can see how the 15, he's pulling him on corner entry, and Tom makes all the money center off. He's really backing up that exit. He gets a big run. The 15 goes down, shuts the door. We're going to see Tom send it into 1. There he goes. You got to make this stick. Little bit of an asphalt slide job, John. He's going to go up there and shut the door.
Yeah, and he did something really smart there. He got his 2 tires, or left side tires, below the yellow line. When you do that here, it actually helps the car rotate. So he drove it in a little bit deeper and used the track to kind of help rotate the car. What a great move by Ogle.
Yeah, and you had touched on that a little bit, John. This is one of the racetracks, that yellow line, that means absolutely nothing. And we haven't seen many drivers utilize it yet, but I can tell you, like I say, spoiler alert, those NASCAR races, that was being used on those restarts. And do we see a guy maybe inside of row 2, inside of row 3, if we get a late restart, spring to the bottom and try to use that flat before the car's up to full speed?
You know, I honestly don't know. I don't know if iRacing, the track here, actually does like with the real life where you can actually pick up a little ground. I think if you keep it on the track, because it's rough, the transition, you keep it on the track where the grip is, I think that you make just as good time staying on the track.
Right now, man, that Napa machine and that 81 machine, I've seen Martindale and Bates, or excuse me, yeah, Martindale and Bates. I said that right. I didn't notice the 93 at first. I thought I just saw a 3 on that Napa, but they've been going back and forth. And then, well, as soon as the name Bates comes out of my mouth, I command him into the wall, and these commentators cursed. Dale Copeland, he's not going away either here for this battle for third. He's all over the back of Daniel Hill, and I'd mentioned him, 10 or 12 laps ago when he went for the defensive run on the outside of 1 and 2 against the 55. I could hear those tires squealing in that close track camera, and I think we're seeing Daniel start to pay for it a little bit. He's losing touch with Kotzka and Robinson, and I think the 55 here, he wants to find a way on by.
Yeah, you're okay running where he's running, but if you start to see those leaders start to skate away, yeah, a little sense of urgency will creep in, especially this time in the race. We're getting down now to, here in a few laps, it'll be 50 to go. You don't want those cats to get too far out there. You got to stay in touch with them if you're going to do anything at the end of this.
Yeah, and we're coming to the point, 50 to go, John. I don't think we'll see anyone dive down for a green flag pit stop. I think if you're going to do that, you got to do it soon to reap the benefit of the long green flag run. But I just think you're giving up too much now. I think we're committed at this point. But what's the point, John, where we get to, let's say, X amount of laps, you fill in the X, where you're dedicated on these tires, or where you'll come down and pit?
I don't come down and pit. If it's green, I stay out.
Let's say we get a caution. Let's say we get a caution with 20 to go. Do you pit?
That's depends on where you're running. If I'm somewhere and in the top 10 and I think everybody will come in, yeah. But think of that last restart. The restart that we had where I forgot who it was that pitted or forgot to pit. What happened? He dropped like a rock. So if you've got 20, 30 laps, you got 30 laps on those tires, you better come and get tires, or those guys in the back that do are going to eat you alive.
Yeah, and you're seeing it. I mean, he is at the tail end of the lead lap, 14 seconds off when he brought us to the green flag. So that tire wear pretty significant, and as we keep on going, and it's, like John said, we're coming up this time here to 50 laps to go. So you still got a long time, and if you're struggling with tire wear, like I thought maybe the 07 was, he lied to me. He's gotten back away from the 55. That 207 to Daniel Hill, he's reeling him back in. Maybe he just needed a couple laps to cool those tires off.
Yeah, it's quite possible here, and we've been out here now for a while on these tires, so these guys now, I talked about it earlier, the transition where you've got to start doing things different behind the wheel with your feet, where you're braking, where you're, rolling the car, getting back to the gas, how you're turning, how much wheel are you putting in the car, through the corner. All those adjustments, this is the time in a run they're happening now.
Oh, yeah, Ryan's got him on there, our wonderful cameraman. Tom Ogle coming up on his next victim. Can he get that thing into the top 5? Dwayne MacArthur, he's had a great run. He's up 14 spots.
I think Copeland's tires are shot too, because he's dropped way off. He's started to drop back both to Ogle here and MacArthur, and MacArthur's looking to the inside now.
Yeah, he is, and now
that's an easy pass.
But I love what Ogle did there. He goes to the top, going to diamond off, and he thought about getting a 2 for 1. He's not going to get as good of a run as he liked, but man, you got to love the instincts of those drivers who, while he saw Dwayne driving it low, he was trying to set him up at the same time. You know Tom is hungry to get to the front.
Yeah, you know, also, when you get back up here now, you're looking, you know, running top 5 after the night he's had. You take that and you run for the hills. So, you know, at some point, too, the greed wears off, and being appreciative of where you're at starts to sink in a little bit, and you realize, okay, I'm lucky. I need to make sure now I just get a good finish out of this.
Seeing that 21 machine there of Luke Lane. He was your lucky dog earlier, and he's gotten that thing inside the top 20. Good run for the Code Red machine after being a lap down. He talked about the 33 having to slug away. Well, the 21, man, going a lap down early, John, you know how much of a drag that can be. And just to be able to shake that off, stay out on the racetrack, and now you're battling for the top 20. That's got to bring a smile to Luke's face.
You know, Zach, the way I'm watching these cars and I'm looking at the lap times and everything else, they're almost a second, coming up on a second slower than what they were when they had fresh tires. They're about 0.8 of a second. That's huge fall off. You know, I'm wondering, we got 45 to go, 44 to go. I mean, I don't know this, but I'm thinking some of these guys, if this goes green, they may not, their tires may not last that long.
Yeah, and that's where, you know, I'm thinking if you're Thier, obviously he's not listening to us, he's in the car racing, but you missed that pit stop, and you talked about it, John, almost a full second. They're going to continue to fall. Do you maybe, if you're Jonathan, you go down and you say, hey, It didn't go my way, let's do a green flag pit stop here. I have 2 sets of tires left, I might as well go use one of them.
Yeah, 100% for him, you know, but if I'm one of the leaders, yeah, you everybody's in the same boat you are. So now, if one of your competitors peel off, that might get me to thinking a little bit. But other than that, your bed's made. You're going to have to lie in it.
Yeah, and you know, it being so early in the season, guys determined for points, I really do think the only guy who could logically make that move, but even now, John, running in 3rd place, Daniel Hill, I think he's too close to the leader to want to run that gamble. Maybe if you're sitting 10th, 15th, you think about it. But right now, man, this point's just too appetizing.
Well, that, and the big thing is if you hit pit road, you're going to lose a lap, probably even 2. That's a big gamble, because if that caution comes out and you haven't made that ground up, you are toast. Your race is over. Or better yet, your shot for a win gone.
Well, Tom Ogle, here he comes. He's under MacArthur. MacArthur made that pretty easy for him here. I think, you know, you maybe use this as a learning moment. Try to hop in the tail of that 11 and follow him around a couple laps, because Tom, he is in a whole nother league right now.
Yeah, he just immediately yarded him as they came out of turn 2 there, and he continues to pull him here. So, yeah. But now what Ogle's got to do is, you know, not try to push it to try to catch those top 3. He just needs to continue doing what he's doing.
He heard us, John. Thier came down pit road. There he goes. And you were exactly right. Here come the leaders. He's going 2 laps down. So he needs this thing to stay green, but we'll have to see what kind of move it makes. And I think he just got to the point where maybe, you know, he waited a little too long.
Gotta stop the bleeding. I mean, that's really what that was about.
Yeah, he may have needed a transfusion while he was in there in pit road, because, oh, man, he was bleeding all over that racetrack. That's tough for him. You thinking, you know, you heard it in his voice, really. He thought, what'd he say, John? I'm going to pit again in 10 laps when we get another caution. And I told you the long green flag was coming. I didn't know it was going to take this long, but, man, it really caught him out.
Yeah.
And now this is another one, John. He was on the lead lap. This is really interesting. Are drivers experiencing that bad of a tire fall off? Because
they might be
pit with these guys. This is kind of throwing a wrench in what I was believing.
Yeah, and I'll tell you too, when they come out, they are going to be just blowing by cars like they're standing still, and that's going to feel really good and all. But yeah, if this goes caution free, man, I just don't know if you can make up 2 laps even with those fresh shoes without some help. And that's a long distance. I mean, that's Those guys are still circling where you're trying to make up 2 laps, and you're talking, we're coming up on 37, 38 to go.
Now, I can't remember what race it was, John. You may have a better memory than me, but I picture Josh Robinson channeling his inner Tony Stewart saying, "Here, kitty, kitty," just reeling in Kotska because he is mowing this thing down. We've got it to a 2/10 gap, and we have got a good race on our hands brewing.
I believe Tony did that. I don't know what year it was, but I believe that was when he was up there. They were racing in the great state of Michigan there at MIS.
Oh, man, that one stuck with me. That's one of the best radio things that I think that we've ever gotten because I'm telling you, that's something that I would say to myself for real sitting here on iRacing. In fact, my wife's laughed at me doing it, but I always channel my inner Tony.
Oh. Mine worries about me having a heart attack the way I scream at people, so you must be a little calmer than me behind the wheel. But oh, well, here it is. Yep.
Oh, and now Thier stuck 2 laps down, but Brian Lynch here, he is going to get the lucky dog. You see that man sitting in 22nd, but Easterlin coming out of the pit.
He did not hold his brake, and oh. And I think he turned around right in the path of another car, and I think that pointed him out. He pulls right up into the track and immediately loses it on cold tires.
Oh, yeah, and then when he comes back up the track, Chris Bates is coming around.
Yeah.
After he thought he was safe, and yeah, that's going to do it for him. So what John means is, too, he probably did point out because he was already in an incident. Well, now we see leaders Andrew Kotska coming down pit road.
Yeah, I just cannot understand why he would pull up. I mean, unless you're not looking at the relative there, which is a huge mistake.
Let's watch these guys come off pit road, and then John, you take your pick here, man, and you can fire away at the first question. But Ryan, let's let these guys get off pit road first here.
Yeah, well, I think we got to talk to Ogle.
I think that's a pretty good pick after the charge we've seen that 11 Ave. Oh, Kotska wins the race off pit road, but barely over Robinson. Oh man, they were side by side. That was close. Tom Ogle. Look at him in 3rd place now.
Hey Tom, this is John up in the booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, hey, how's it going?
It's going. Man, you have been the story of the race. Issues early, fighting your way through. You got the leaders now here, and we're going to be in for a barn burner finish. What is your strategy here now from now until 175 when that checkered flag flies?
I don't think I have anything on new tires because of my damage. As the tires wore, I was a little bit better. I saved a little bit better, but with my perfect car, I don't know if I could help Josh off, so I'm not sure what I could do. It was kind of self-inflicted, my problems when I got back in traffic there on that. Just the checkup was different going into 1 on that crash I caused.
But hey, Tom, real quick before we kick out of here, what's your incident points at? Are we close?
8.
Oh my gosh! All right,
got 1.
Pull the belts tight, Tom. Hold on, man. It's gonna be a ride.
I've had 8 since for the last 100 laps, so I'm here for the fun of it.
Oh man! All right, well let's kick him out of here. Good luck, Tom. And
thanks.
Oh boy, 8X, John. We knew it was.
What is that? What is that saying? Dead man walking kind of feel, but man, oh man. Man, that's borrowed time, but he's picked up a lot of spots. They're gonna send him here, Zach, and he's got a shot at this.
Yeah, Kotska's been nailing these restarts. Tom's got to take full advantage and go along with him. Tom may be caught a little sleeping, though. Josh may be able to slip down as we're back underway. We're on lap 144, 32 laps to go.
On Ogle overdrives the corner, goes way up the track, but it's able to recover, use that momentum.
Yeah, and you know, it's okay to do here, but you don't want to slide those front tires too much. We know, John, this is a little bit of a shorter run here, but still, you are going to feel effects. If we stay green here these last 30 laps, you're going to need something for the end.
Yeah. Oh, I think we got some contact in the back. 93 into the wall.
Oh, yeah, and he's going to go around. Caution flag going to fly. That
I think that
dog leg.
started. Yeah. Yeah, he just kind of pushes and gets a little loose coming out of that. And, oh, the 19 gets loose.
Yeah, and you know, John, I mean, we don't really talk about it a lot. We don't have many dog's legs like this, but we talk about side draft at Daytona. How much of that do you think is a car, you know, getting to the inside of you through the dog leg? You're not used to that, and you know it snaps the rear end on you.
Well, I think it's maybe a little bit of that, but I think more. I mean, the tires probably, maybe they were starting to get up to temperature, but you know, just being a little offline. I think he just got loose and kind of overcorrected and caught the 93 there. And man, that's a tough break this close to the end. But boy, I tell you what, though, Zach, we get to re-rack them here and watch another exciting restart.
Yeah, I'm going to move him in for you here, Ryan. I've already got him on. I'm going to move up the leader here, Andrew Kotska. Andrew, check in the booth, man. You got a copy? Well, I'll tell you what, man. I was your biggest fan last week at COTA. You weren't allowed to qualify. You drove that machine up through the field. Now you get a chance to strut your stuff, man. We're leading the race. 30 laps to go, dude. How we feeling?
I don't know. I'm kind of worried about these guys behind me. I know they're all fast here, so it could be anybody's race here. Hoping I can hold them off, but we'll see what happens here coming to the restart.
Got
Hey,
any
Andrew,
questions?
Andrew, this is John. Hey, a real quick question here. It's lap 147. That means we got about 20. We're probably going to be about 25 to go, maybe, when we get going back to green. How long before tire wear starts to get in? You start got to doing adjustments out there. How long does it take to knock the good off of them?
I think that whole run, you'll pretty much have the good of your tires for that whole run. It's usually around that 35, 40 lap mark that you really got to start backing up those corners even more. So I bet everyone's going to be kind of sending it pretty hard here on this restart.
Andrew, are we a Marvels fan? Because I just noticed your helmet. Your helmet is incredible, that Venom helmet.
Yes, I am. I'm a huge comic book fan, so yeah, that's why I got that Venom helmet going on.
Oh, my God, Andrew, you and I, if you lived in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania, we'd be best friends, man, I'm telling you. Good luck here the rest of the way. We'll send you back. Like John said, about 26 when we drop the hammer, man. Go get one.
All right, thanks, guys.
You're such a nerd.
Oh, dude, I love the Marvel stuff, especially now because
You and a very big part of the world, so yep.
I'm telling you, the new craze, John. Fortnite's gone. Marvel Rivals is where it's at. That's the new game, and this 33-year-old man is absolutely hooked. The pace car turns off here, and Andrew. Gonna have to see if he can hold this thing off, John. It's gonna get wild.
And a little tidbit on that interview. It sounds like you can hang it out in the wind now and go for it. It sounds like those tires will stay under you from now to the end of the race pretty well.
Yeah, anxious to see. You got to bring them in nice though here. You don't want to have any slides on this opening 1 or 2 laps. Good jump again from Andrew Kotska. Absolutely leaves the inside row in the dust. Tom Ogle going to lose the spot to MacArthur, John. Not too sure what happened there to the 11.
Yeah, that's 2 restarts in a row. That 11 just kind of was asleep there at the start of it. And this time, though, it is going to cost him a spot there.
Yeah, and Tommy's getting a run back, but that 55 of Dale Copeland, we've seen him kind of, not to take a shot at him, John, but he had a lot of speed on that short run and maybe fell off a little bit towards the end. You mentioned there, because of what Andrew said, you can go get him. You got to think that 55 machine, he's got to be in for a win here. He had a quick short run car.
Yeah. Oh, we got one in inside wall.
Yeah, the Mobile 1 machine. Couldn't
Gotta keep
tell
it
who
going.
that was James Hislop. And oh man, that's tough. James was up there just sniffing outside of the top 5, and it looks like he didn't suffer too much damage. But John, man, that was a really hard hit once again in that inside wall.
Yeah, and look who's behind him. Dan Hill, who's been up front. So it's going to be interesting if I don't know if he's going to have enough time to claw his way back up there.
Yeah, shame on us for not noticing he came on down pit road to use that last set of tires, because this has to be the story now. We've got to watch the trash man. Can he climb up the pile and get through the field? Because this is his worst enemy, John. You got guys running side by side in front of you, and I mean, don't get me wrong, wide racetrack, but boy, is it risky to throw it 3 wide here at Phoenix.
Well, it is, and also, unlike the beginning of the race where, hey, okay, you're quicker than me, go on. Yeah, that's out the window. Guys are like, hey, pay window's open, it's time to go.
Speaking of fastest lap of the race, last time by for Josh Robinson, a 27.65, 27.71 for the leader. John, it is absolutely hammer down go time.
Yeah, and to give you an idea, that would have started third in qualifying, so, yep, it's go time.
Yeah, now, you got to wonder, too, realizing they have that much left in their tires, trying to work through the field. Daniel Hill with those new tires only at 27.99. So while he may have grip, John, we're just going to see that traffic here at Phoenix, man, it may be too much to overcome.
Yeah, I think it's going to be.
Andrew Kotska here rolling around as we come to lap 155. It's 21.
Zach, I was going to say, the one thing he got to have his fingers crossed for are cautions. He gets a couple of well-timed cautions. It may not be over for him quite yet.
Yeah, and John, it's not very often that, you maybe want the high line, but if you're Dan with these new tires, you probably don't want to be bottled up on the inside on a restart. If he could get to the outside, that might be, a free 3 positions there rolling through 1 and 2 if he can hook it up. But, man, he slid that thing there through 3 and 4. He is just overdriving that thing, trying to get every ounce out of it.
Yeah, and he gets close enough to the front. Phoenix can't quite do it, but, the watermelon man move around 3 and 4, but you will never see that. That won't work in the iRacing, but yeah, if you got a car like that, you feel like you can do stuff like that, and that's a good feeling.
And this is where, if you're Andrew, he didn't sound real confident, but based off lap times, man, he's got to be exuding confidence, John, because Josh may be the better long-run car. Right before that caution came out was when we started to see him reel him in, and with this short of a stint, Josh, you just got to think he's not really making the ground that you'd want to see. You kind of want to make the move on fresher tires rather than wait till later in the run.
Yeah, but you know what, though? If you can push the guy in front of you to drive a little harder, use his stuff up, you can get away with doing that, too, and then come back and get him after he does either heat up the tires or use them up a little.
Daniel Hill, man, he's looking to the outside, trying to get 11th here if he can get around this Kubota machine. Maybe setting him up for a little crossover. Oh, I thought we were going to see a little contact there as the 30 kind of parked it there in the racing line. Daniel, man, he is driving that thing for all it's worth here. He's trying to make us look like fools, John, but the sand keeps falling out of the hourglass.
Yeah, coming around to 15 to go. I touched on it. He's really needing a caution here.
Yeah, and each caution, what is that? We're going to wipe off 3 laps. We do have 2 shots at a green-white or a shot at a green-white checkered, I believe, but still, even with that, you're going to need the cars up to speed to really take advantage of those new tires. So, going to need a timely caution here, and probably the next 4 to 5 laps, or maybe a little too late for the trash man.
Yeah, I'm actually surprised the separation too of the top 5. They've really separated from each other here.
Yeah, and I thought we'd see a little bit more out of that 55. He was good on those short runs, but Tom Ogle and the gang up there, those top 4, proving to be a tough nut to crack. And Tom absolutely hit the nail on the head, John. I think he needs this thing to go long green flag with the damage that he has. Just not the short run speed. We really see him turn it on here towards the end.
Yeah, and Zach, I'm telling you, the 23, it's incremental, but he's reeling in the 40 there of Kostka. He's a little better than him on corner entry, especially in the 1. But here again, at corner entry, he's really getting them. And really kind of holding it. Koska's not gaining it back out. You know, he does there a little bit coming out of this one here, but he is reeling them in a bit.
Yeah, and I mean, John, you and I love them here. We love those bump and runs in Phoenix, man. You're known for it. If he reels him in, this is the perfect track. You got the flat corners. You're not going to wipe a guy out. If you do it right, you just go in there and nudge him up off the line. And as Josh continues to reel him in, they're running the same line. That may be going through his head here in the closing laps.
Yeah, in the real world, but here in iRacing, Zach, this track being flat now, if they're banked, you can get away with that a little bit. But man, if you touch a guy in the rear here with a wheel turn in iRacing on a flat track, boy, you better do it perfect, because if you don't, you are going to wreck them.
Yeah, you almost
got to hit them square. You got to hit them square.
Yep, and drive them a little deep into that braking zone. It's definitely a tough art, but I imagine defending champion Josh Robinson probably has this mastered, and he's right in the wake, man, trying to use every ounce of draft that you get at this mile racetrack. Not a lot. You get a little bit of pull going down the straightaways, but man, oh man, Josh drives it in so deep. He floats up the hill, and that's where you see Kotska. He just has such a good drive off there coming out of 4, and man, it's so tough, John. You drive that thing in, you're reeling the guy in, but then he makes all that time coming off the corner.
Yep. Yeah, and now you're starting to see it kind of equal out a little bit more here. So, there are some lap cars not too far off in the distance that these guys might roll up on here. We're inside 10 to go here, so that may give him one more opportunity if they catch him at the right spot.
Yeah, we saw it get exciting last week at Coda there with 2 to go with a little lap traffic. So you never know what can happen. And, man, Daniel, he was involved in that little hiccup. Boy, what he'd love for somebody to have a little hiccup like that right now. Throw a caution out there because he is quick. Daniel's got that thing up to 9th, but as we talked about...
These leaders are going to catch those lap cars, too, before the checker.
Yeah, at the pace they're coming, they're 1,000% gonna. Andrew Kotska possibly 2 laps away here from catching that lap car, and he's opened it up a little bit. He's got the 6/10 here, but how much of that too, John, could be now he's maybe getting a little bit of draft off those lap cars in front?
I think he was just snookering the field and kind of pacing himself, and I think he's pushing a little bit more. I bet you he's even got more left in the tank.
Yeah, and I bring it up all the time. It blows my mind how you can set the pace and still save tires without having a guy to judge off of. It really does just show the talent. We see the 33 still working to the inside. Nelson, he's got himself back into the top 25 after that rough start. 11 laps down. Oh, wow. Yeah, that lap car getting to the inside. You saw the same thing I did, John. That was a scare there for Kotska, and we see the lead. It got trimmed down, 1/10.5 there, back down to the half-second mark. So Kotska, he had to hold his breath there for a second.
Yeah, I bet he did here. But now he's coming up on Victor Lane here, and I think these guys will probably get up out of the way here for these guys.
Yeah, Victor right now getting down to the inside, doing a good job of getting out of the way, the boss man. But Kotska still enters in a little higher than, maybe he's used to entering a little lower. And we see Robinson got it back down to 3/10. Robinson chewed him up that corner. Kotska, you can see how line dependent he is right now. So the lap cars definitely did play a little bit of a factor. But John, only 3 laps to go. Or 4 laps to go. You had the other one. Bad math.
Yeah. I don't know. Does Josh have anything left in the tank here? Now, I mean, he's as close as he's been now in about 10 or 15 laps. Can he capitalize?
Yeah, and we're possibly going to catch one more lap car here, coming to 1 to go, possibly 2 to go. The Napa machine up the road, and it's got some damage, so I assume he'll pull to the inside. But all eyes on Josh Robinson as he tries to secure his first win of the year. But Kotska, was a rookie last week. Had a heck of a run at Coda, earned himself a 2-digit number, and he wants nothing more than to take a checkered flag week 1 with that 2-digit number, John. That would feel good.
Yeah, we're coming up here. The popsicle sticks are up in the air. We got 2 to go here, and boy, I think Josh just had a mistake coming out of 4. He got her loose and kind of had to wiggle around a little bit. So that might be it.
And we're coming up right on that.
Again.
We're coming up right on that lap traffic here. What happens? Can Kotska deal? Can he find a way around?
Oh, he didn't get up out of the way.
No, he didn't. He held his line. White flag in the air. One more trip around. He gets to the inside. I just don't know if Josh Robinson is close enough to make a move here. Josh gets around no problem. But that 4/10 of a second gap, John, he's really going to have to send it.
Yeah, and 3 and 4 is not a place you want to send it. And like I said, this is not a place you can do the watermelon man move here. So
final time through 3 and 4. The Canadian in the 40 gonna take the checkered flag here in the desert at Phoenix Raceway. Congratulations to Andrew Kotska. Josh Robinson, man, I believe that is the second, possibly third P2 for him this season. He's come so close, but the checkered flag eludes him at least one more week. Andrew Kotska, welcome to the playoffs. John, my oh my. God was a little hairy in the beginning, but boy, it was a great finish.
yeah, and a couple other things to note. Tom Ogle did bring her home 4th, and Dan Hill, he took that late pit stop, able to work his way all the way back up to 8th. So nice run to the finish there.
Yeah, we're going to let these guys catch their breath here. We'll run a couple promos, but right now, Andrew Kotska, soak it in, brother. Winner at Phoenix Raceway. Congratulations. We're going to step away for a short break, and we'll be right back here with your results and the interview of your top 3. Stick around. We're back live on the Virtual Grip Racing the Virtual Grip Network, excuse me. No racing in there. And boy, oh boy, it was a good one down here in the desert for the YesterYear Racing Cup Series. Andrew Kotska bringing home his first checkered flag of the season. Josh Robinson, P2. Dwayne MacArthur rounding out your podium. Tom Ogle, 4th. Dale Copeland, 5th. Daryl Weininger, 6th. Mark Schrader, your hard charger, coming home in 7th. Good run for the 82. Daniel Hill, after those new tires, able to get back up to 8th. Alan Wanamaker bringing it home 9th. And Bill Martin rounding out the top 10.
Coming home 11th is going to be Brian Lynch. He was followed by Andy Thomas, Fred Wolford, Jeffrey Lydon, and Gavin Adams coming home 15th. Bruce Pearson 16th. Chris Bates 17th. 18th will be Tom Massey. James Hillsop 19th, and 20th is going to be Patrick Martindale.
The Viking, Dustin Martinson bringing it home 21st. Jonathan Thier 22nd. Lloyd Moore 23rd. Courtney Nelson 24th. Torrance Childs 25th. Luke Lane, we saw him. He was the lucky dog early on, but he had another tough break. Going to bring it home 20 laps down, 26th. Victor Lane, the boss man, 27th. Sean Foltz, 28th. Don Easterland, 29th. Scott Negus rounding out the top 30.
Coming home 31st is going to be Roger Hurley, followed by Chris Walsh, Dave Matson, Ben Shepard, and Mark Fish. Finishing 36th is going to be Kevin Massour, followed by Larry Corey. Mike Watts comes home 38th tonight. 39th, John Hastings. Brian Lindsay will come home 40th. And rounding out your field is going to be Robert Grosco.
And now we're going to get a word here with our top 3 drivers. We'll bring up the driver of the 83, Dwayne MacArthur. Dwayne, Shaggy up in the booth, man. You got a copy?
Yeah, bud. I got you.
Well, I'll tell you what, man, exciting race for you. You were finding a lot of grip down there on the inside, where some drivers making that move on the outside. How'd you get that car to work so good on the bottom tonight?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I've always liked the bottom at Phoenix. I just like to hug the yellow line. I think there's some grip down there. I think I can save some tires down there pretty good. So I usually end up down there even when other people aren't. I migrated a few times today. I saw the fast guys where they were running, but I like it down low.
Yeah, you know, my partner John highlighted there. You guys, all of a sudden, lap 150, it's like somebody lit the fuse. We saw the fastest laps of the race. Is that just the case? You guys playing a little conservative, making sure you had something in the bag there for the end?
I'm sure that's the proper answer, but I'm going to call it the Tom Ogle effect. Once I saw the that blue and red car, the number 11, show up, I had to pick up the pace just a little bit.
Yeah, you know, speaking of Tom, you know, you came out of behind him in pit road. He had a little bit of a rough restart. How important was it that you got in front of him and shut the door so you could kind of set your pace?
Yeah, it's so hard to pass here. I think if he would have cleared me, he would have finished in front of me. Those 3 cars in front are definitely better at this track than I am. I know Tom and Josh historically have kind of always been in front of me, so definitely having that track position helped. Actually, most of the final run, I was using some of the advice that I got from Tom last year, actually here, just trying to be patient in the middle and let that car turn and save that right rear. So I think I overachieved today, especially being gone so long, but it was a hell of fun out there, especially starting from the pits.
Oh, yeah, starting from the pits, man, bringing it up through the field. Congratulations, Dwayne, on a great run. Before I let you do your rundown here, I talk all the time, man. I love that paint job. What inspired that paint job? Did we paint it? Did we have someone else paint it? I love that thing.
Oh, thanks. No, I do my own painting. I paint for a couple guys in the league. I like black and yellow. It matches my real-life race car. I've always liked the black and yellow theme.
Oh, time out. Real-life race car. This interview got longer. What are we racing, Dwayne?
Oh, I'm a washed-up real-life race car driver.
So am I. I raced as a teenager, but what are we racing? Come on, let's hear it.
Yeah, just street stocks and late models, hobby stock kind of thing.
Oh, that's awesome. Dwayne, what area are we doing that in?
I'm up in Canada, so I did that up in British Columbia when I was younger, much younger.
Well, hey, Dwayne, it's awesome to have a real-life driver in here. You can tell, man, the way you drive with respect out there, but you race hard, you put on a good show. Heck of a job in that 83, man. Who you want to thank?
Thanks a lot. Yeah, I just want to say thanks to everybody who's keeping this league running. First and foremost, Victor Lane and all the other admins that keep this thing going each and every week. Been gone a long time. It's nice to come back and see it going even better than it ever has. So big shout out to all the admins, to Victor, to all of our sponsors, obviously YesterYear Racing, Victory Lane Sports, Butt Kicker, and you guys too. Big reason why I'm back is I caught a couple of your broadcasts and I couldn't resist coming out to play. So I'll probably come and do a few more. You guys do a hell of a job, so good job.
Well, hey, Dwayne, man, we really appreciate that, and we appreciate guys like you coming out to play. Like you said, it makes the show that much better. You race hard, you race clean, you put on a good show. Look forward to talking to you again, man. Good run.
Yeah, you bet. And thanks to all my Last Ditch Racing teammates, and have a good night.
You too, Dwayne. And now, John, I think we're going to bring up the man finished P2. Who you got?
Yeah, I've got Josh Robinson, who's continued a really strong start to the season. But Josh, I got a feeling you're wanting to do one better here.
Yeah, I was passing is so hard here, and when we had that, I don't know, probably about halfway when we had that pit stop, I actually kind of expected Dan to leapfrog me there just because he had that number one stall and you can get such a good launch out of there, but then Andrew must have had a really good stop and he leapfrogged us both, and it's just so tough to pass here that if anyone's running a really good pace, as both Andrew and Dan and Dale and Tom and Dwayne all were, it almost becomes a little bit following the leader because there's no way you can pull off a slide job with running that good.
Yeah, it's funny you talk about Andrew's pit stop. When I saw him come out, I thought, how did he leapfrog? I went back and even looked to see if he took 2 tires, and he took 4. I think he just got in and out of that pit box, and I've talked about it every week that you can make up some time getting in your pit box, hitting those timing lines just right. But one thing I noticed, and it's been a long time since I've kind of wheeled one of these cars around under race conditions here, but you seem like you could pull in on him, but it was almost like you hit a bubble. Where is aero push a thing with those? Because it almost looked like you got there and it looked like you started sliding your nose when you got too close to him.
There's definitely a little bit of an aero push in this car. So I don't know if you guys noticed, but probably in the first run that I was behind him, I actually started dipping low in 1 and 2, and I knew there was no way I was going to make that pass going low there with the momentum he had off the 2. But I wanted that clean air on my front end. And the other thing that you said, you get that aero push going in. Well, when you try to compensate for that on corner exit to make that little bit of time back up, you're going to scorch that right rear. And so it was tough to balance getting in there, maintaining that bubble, and dealing with that aero push going in, and then just not trying to overcompensate coming out of the corner and scorching the right rear. It was fun to navigate, but would have liked to not have the aero push.
Well, I've lost track how many times you've been knocking on the door already in this young season here, and we're going to Vegas next week. What are your thoughts when we head there?
Vegas is a really fun track. These cars can get a little bit of snap loose at any of the tracks, and I think historically that's been the case for the next gen at Vegas. So hopefully the 2025 setup that iRacing gives us takes that away, because if we get some really good green flag laps, you're going to see some pretty excellent racing with us out there.
Awesome. Well, buddy, congratulations on your runner-up here tonight. Who would you like to give a shout out?
Well, shout out to my team. Tom, and who had some little bit of misfortune early on, then Brian Lynch, who also had some misfortune, and then Mark, who had some misfortune. So I don't know if those guys are taking a bullet for me by having all the bad luck happen to them, but if they are, I appreciate it. And then, you guys are putting on a good broadcast. This is pretty top-notch quality, and the OBRL and all the guys that come out every week, just the car counts that we're having have been pretty impressive, and a couple of cautions tonight, but Phoenix tends to be a little bit of a kryptonite for us, but we'll get that cleaned up and get some really good racing next week for you.
Well, all fairness, Phoenix is a kryptonite for most everybody. It's a tough little joint to get around. So, well, congratulations again on a good start to your season. We'll see you next week, Josh.
Have a good week, guys.
Yep. That's Josh Robinson, our runner-up, and Zach, I do believe you got the guy of the hour. It's going to be Andrew Koska.
Andrew, Shaggy up here in the booth, man. Long time no talk. How you doing?
Hey, good evening again, guys. How are you doing? I'm doing well after that nice win tonight.
No kidding, man. You slap that new number on there and you say, guys, I'm ready to party. What a run, dude. Did you think gridding up eighth, excuse me. You know, that's pretty good qualifying effort. But did we think we'd really be standing at the top step here when we got done with 175 laps?
No, considering I also had an end of line to start the race as well too. I started back in P40 whatever in this race as well too. So I think just a lot of timely cautions there kind of helped me stay on the same tire strategy as the leaders as I kind of picked my way up through the field, and kind of just worked out nicely with how all of that kind of dropped there tonight.
Yeah, we saw, the move of the race. You're coming to pit road, you're in third place. Andrew, you just absolutely pulled all the stops, man. And I looked at the pit stop time. I want to say you were 56 and a half, and everyone else was in that 58 second range for pit loss time. How did you nail that pit stop?
I don't know. I guess I just had a really good entry and exit to my pit stall. I just tried to make sure that I didn't spin my tires, lock my brakes, or any of that stuff, and it just worked out well. I surprised myself that I got in front of those guys there for sure, and that definitely helped me stay out front, because even at a track like this, dirty air can be a real pain.
Now, obviously, it's no fun, Andrew, and I'm not saying you go in there and do it 15 times in a row. But do we practice our pit stops to absolutely nail it like that? Because, man, that was perfection.
Yeah, all the time. I mean, just years of practicing pit stops, and before a race, just making sure you can hit that pit road, hit the pit box, and making sure everything's good, so no mistakes during the race. I'm sure I'll make a mistake at some point this season on pit road and cost me some time, but it all just worked out nicely tonight.
Well, with the way that points worked, you weren't really earning any as a rookie. How does it feel, man? You're making the show here. You're week number one. If you can keep those races up and you make the minimum amount, you've got yourself in the playoffs, dude. What's it feel to just have the pressure off? And, man, now you're going out here, you're racing for fun and to collect more wins.
Yeah, it's absolutely amazing. I didn't expect that I was going to win a race this soon. I mean, such tough competition in this entire league here, and just that pit stop there helped me, and that clean air. I mean, it was just hard for Josh to try to get a run on me, just being stuck there right behind me the whole time.
Well, hey, man, the Sorry machine gets it done. Congratulations. I knew it was going to be coming for you this season, if I'm being honest. I thought you were maybe a road course ringer at first. I thought it was going to come at the next road course. But boy, oh boy, Andrew, you really showed me who's boss, and you're going to be a top contender here throughout the season. Can't wait to watch. But before you get out of here, man, who you want to thank on the big win?
Yeah, first of all, I want to thank you guys for your broadcast here. You did an absolutely wonderful job every week, especially with your in-car questions, the different drivers throughout the field, the entire broadcast, just great job, and the entire OBRL team here for running an awesome league and running this series as well. And thanks to all family and friends out there watching the race here tonight. Hopefully I'll be able to chat with you guys here soon in a couple weeks.
Yeah, man, looking forward to it. Speaking of that, how we feeling coming into Vegas? Do we like Vegas?
Yeah, Vegas is okay. I think you guys have talked to me here because I'm pretty good at the road courses and short tracks, 1.5 miles. I might struggle a little bit more, but hopefully it'll be good. Vegas is probably one of my better 1.5 miles, so we'll see what I can do next week.
Well, hey, congratulations, Andrew. Can't wait to talk to you again, man. Hell of a job tonight.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
And John, you absolutely hit the nail on the head. The road course translates to here. He knew he was going to be comfortable, man. Your knowledge just exudes once again.
Blind squirrel finds a nut every now and again, so on occasion I can pull one out there. But yeah, flat track. I mean, the funny thing is even Martinsville's kind of like that. How you've got to brake, get through the turns. I mean, guys that are good road course racers tend to be really good at Martinsville. So we'll see some other tracks that I think Andrew will excel at coming up here. I'm sure of it. So, and I'm sure the tracks that he hasn't in the past, he seems to be a pretty smart driver, and I'm going to bet he's going to figure out a way to find his way to the front.
Yeah, and speaking of racetracks coming up. Why don't we take a look here at what's coming up next on the Virtual Grip Network? Of course, we've got Las Vegas rolling in next Sunday. And John, we've talked about it. 1.5 miles, high speeds. How tight do we expect the racing to be?
It's Vegas, baby. You know what? It's a town built on gambling. So you know what? I think guys are going to have to put caution to the wind here at some point in that race to maybe bring home a checkered flag. So it should be a very, very entertaining race.
Well, coming up next on the Virtual Grip Network Thursday, we've got the Red Light Racing SK Modified Series at the Southern National Speedway. And John, I'm not too familiar with Southern National. That's a smaller bull ring, isn't it?
It's about a 1/2 mile high bank bull ring, but it's a wicked fast track. Those guys are going to have fun there too. It's one of those tracks where trouble can happen in a blink of an eye.
Well, spoiler alert, I think we have the point leader of that coming up on a little podcast, so you'll want to tune into that as well. The Red Light Racing, great racing over there. But once again, thank you for tuning in tonight, man. We were absolutely treated to a phenomenal race here in the desert for the OBRL YesterYear Cup Racing Series. On behalf of everyone at the Virtual Grip Network, I'd like to thank my partner, John Hine, our dude in the back, Ryan Seneker, and last but not least, all of you. Have a good night.